What's up, guys? Me and my wife wanted to do something where we just talked about identity in marriage. I'm gonna let you pop it up.
I don't know popping it off.
Go ahead.
So, when we had our conversation about identity in marriage, the Holy Spirit kind of confirmed with my husband that that's the direction, that we needed to go when we spoke.
Right.
And so, what kind of resonated with me was being a new mom, how that looks, and just having that balance. Like, what does being a new mom look like?
Yeah.
How has things been different since I've been a new mom?
Right.
A new wife. And so my identity, I noticed that my identity was solely tied into my titles.
Oh, that's good.
Good. What that means is,
That's
because
good.
this is new for me,
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, I don't know how to be a mom yet, because this is my first time, so I don't have any experience
Right.
with being a mom. First time being a wife, so I don't really know how to be a wife just yet, but I'm growing and evolving into that place.
Yeah.
But when anything is new, you have to basically have like information and resources.
Uh-huh.
And so when you don't have that to fall on, you kind of like, you just fall into your roles because you want to get to a place where you comfortably know how to operate in your roles. Like when you start a new job.
Yeah.
It's new, it's unfamiliar, but
Right.
you eventually learn how to do your job. But you have to put in practice, and you may have to stay over until you master some of your content. But at the end of the day, you eventually learn how to operate in that role. And the same thing with me going back to being a wife and being a mom. So I'm like, okay, let me make sure Benil good.
Yeah.
Let me make sure Nolan's good. Even my dog, let me make sure Simba's good.
Yeah.
But then what happens is, what about me?
Right.
What about me?
Right.
So if I'm not pouring into myself, how can I be my best self for my husband,
Yeah.
for my son, and for my dog? And so that's kind of where I was, just kind of being new to all of these different roles.
So where are you at now?
Fast forwarding to now, I think that it's safe to say that we're in a space where we pretty much kind of got a momentum going,
Yeah.
like with our routine.
Right.
Like y'all, at first, I think our first few months,
Man.
like transitioning my son into daycare, it's just been Benil and I for like years. And so now it's just like, okay, now we have a new person.
Yes.
So now we're all under one roof.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, Benil's up.
Yeah.
Benil has to walk the dog.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have to get up. And let it not be a time where you're really tired and you sleep over.
Yeah.
That throws our whole schedule off.
Right.
We are like aware that we have to be up at least for us 4 a.m.
Yeah.
4 a.m. is like our wake up time because we're trying to fix breakfast. We're trying to get Nolan stuff together. Nolan has to be fed before he goes to daycare.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable because our son loves to eat.
Right.
And if he doesn't get his food, he's irritated, and so we want to set him off on the right page when we send him to school. And so just him, me, the dog, breakfast, getting myself together, you getting yourself together,
Right.
dressing Nolan, making sure Nolan's fed, Nolan's birth, and it's just like, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot for us. But now I can say that we haven't mastered it fully because things change.
Yeah.
But I can say that
gotten better in it.
we've gotten better in it. We pretty much know our son now, which is good. Nolan is currently 7 months. So we pretty much have a system in place.
Yeah. I think that it's like we're learning him, and we're a little bit better than we was before. 7 months in, because of course when you don't know him, he don't know you, and you trying to learn the ins and outs of your first time parents. So it feels like a lot at the beginning.
Right.
And so now, like Morgan said, we have a system in place, and we are understanding the schedules, which means like okay, he's going to bed at a certain time, he's waking up at a certain time. Now every now and then he wakes up in the middle of the night, but he's starting to sleep a little bit more throughout the night. But going back to identity, like Morgan said, it's like I was tying my identity into just the titles, which means the father, the husband, the minister. And now I'm getting to a place where, who am I in God?
That's good.
You know, first, who am I in God? And so now when I understand that, then I could be able to pour into these other titles or things that God has called me to. And so as I connect with the ultimate resource, he's going to give me what I need to be able to pour into all these other sources and all these other things into my life. And I think I'm finally in a place where I am seeking God on who is it that you say I am. And so one of the things that I don't want is Morgan to be just Benil's wife. You have dreams, you have goals, you have ambition that you want to achieve, and I don't want this to be just the Benil show. I do want my wife to support everything that I do or whatever God has called me to, and she will. But I don't want it to be just about Benil. Morgan has things that she wants to do, things that God has called her to, and I want to be able to support her in that as well. And I still want her to be able to connect with her friends that God has called her to. And she allows me to be able to have successful relationships with whom God has called me to, which meaning that my cousin I work out with, my other cousin I make box with, people that God has called me to in ministry, and things of that nature, maybe business ventures and stuff like that. But we make sure that there are boundaries in place. We make sure that there's understanding in place. We make sure that there's communication in place on whatever it is that God has called us to. But I believe that now it's like one of the main things for me is understanding who God says I am. And once I get that and understand that, then I can be able to pour into fatherhood, husband, and Benil the person. How you feel about that?
With what you said?
Yeah, what you think about that?
I feel like
You get that?
Yeah, I feel like that was good.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you have to first partner with the Holy Spirit.
That's my point.
To confirm.
Yeah.
Who He says you are.
Right.
Because what happened is, if that's not the first step, then it's like you're tied to a false identity. If that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So a false identity means this is who I feel like I am.
Yeah.
And it's a false identity because it's not who God said you was. You know?
Yeah.
So when you said that, like, that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because if I partner with the Holy Spirit, will I feel like that's what my identity is tied to?
Yeah.
Or does it become just like a learning curve?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like kind of like a toss up of what happens, because I think as women, we get so tied into like wanting to make sure the home is where it needs to be, because we're like, hey, this is our place to make sure our home life is cultivated, where it's, when my husband comes home, it's peaceful for him. And you know, that's kind of like your role to kind of help cultivate the home. Yeah, the husband does too, but like as a wife, I think for us, we kind of like wanted to always make sure that we keep everything together. And so naturally, and then I think for me, being a teacher, it comes like easily for me to do that, just off of what I do. I'm with kids all day, 20 kids all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So in my role, I have to provide a certain type of climate for parents, for kids, you know, for my coworker that I work in the room with. So we both understand that like this is a part of like what our classroom environment looks like. It has to be welcoming, it has to be safe. Families have to feel safe to drop their kids off. Kids have to feel safe in order to be able to go through their day.
Mm-hmm.
And so jumping from school to home, my head is just kind of just changing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super easy for me to like fall into these roles without making sure that I'm good, because all I'm doing all day is just nurturing.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you need? Okay, what do you need? How can I help you? How can I help you? So for me, I have to be very intentional
Mm-hmm.
about making sure that I'm good, like me personally, because I notice that's what makes me better,
Mm-hmm.
is if I'm pouring into my own cup. When I don't get that time with God, when I don't get that alone time, because I'm like a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have that time to socially unplug, then I'm not my best self,
Yeah.
because I'm in the forefront all day. I'm interacting with people. I'm making sure people are good. That's a part of my job. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that for 8 hours, and then I just really may have enough time depending on what day it is. Because if it's a day where I go get my son, then I may have a 15-minute span where I'm like, I got my head off. Okay, let me put my head back on, because now I go in and I get my son, and now I jump right back into mom mode.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that one of the things for me is, as a man, you really taught just to provide and protect. Those are one of the two of the key things that you're taught as a little boy, as to when you get a family, provide and protect. But I think that one of the things that was missing for me with education was you're not really taught to partner with the Holy Spirit as well on guiding and educating your family. You pretty much make sure you take care of the bills, make sure you get you a job, and make sure nothing really happens to them. That's about the basis of it. And but you're not really taught to communicate with God and allow God to lead your family. And so that's in my mind as a little boy, that's what my identity was tied to, is just being a provider, being a protector. And so now it goes back to what I had the conversation with you earlier about. In everything that you do, you want to make sure that you are communicating with God about these different things. You know, you trusting in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all thy ways follow him, and he's going to direct thy paths. So in all thy ways, I want to make sure that I'm partnered with the Holy Spirit. I want to make sure I'm communicating with Holy Spirit. And then as I do that, that's where my love is going to be coming from. And that's where I'm going to be able to disperse. That's where I'm going to be able to pour into everybody else. But I got to make that a priority on a regular basis to be able to plug in and be able to charge up on a regular basis. And as I do that, then I believe that I'll be okay. And I be needing that time with Holy Spirit. I be needing that time with God. I need that time to be able to pour into me. And that is what'll keep me going. And that's what'll keep me from looking at somebody else's family and be like, why is not my family not there? Or looking at somebody else's business and be like, why is my business not there? I could be able to focus on what God has called me to and my identity in what He said, in what He says I am, and then I won't start getting into comparison mode. You know what I'm saying? I could be able to walk my walk and talk my talk and stay in my lane, because I am constantly, consistently getting poured into by Him and listening to what He has guided me and telling me what to do. And as I do that I won't be looking at the world to inform me on who I am.
yeah. That's good. It's going back to just knowing truly who you are. And
Yeah.
so when you know truly who you are, you're not swayed into comparison.
Man.
I can't compare
Yeah.
myself to this person. And I think for me, like just on the comparison tip, it's natural for us to do that as people
Yeah.
because we want the best for ourselves.
Right.
So what has really helped me in that area is knowing that there is a time in the season.
Yes. Very true.
Hey, I can cheer my coworkers on, my church members on, whoever it is I'm connected to,
Yeah.
and in any capacity of their life. So if my coworker got a promotion,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate on my coworker that had a promotion. I'm gonna thank God for them being able to get that, and I know, like,
Absolutely.
hey, my season is coming. But in
True.
the meantime, I'm gonna congratulate whoever it is that I'm connected with that's elevating. I'm never gonna hate on anybody that's elevating because I know it's just a matter of a season that I'll reap what I've planted, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that's very important to look at it like that because it's so easy to hate on somebody when you are not secure in who you are. And that's why it's so important for you to be tapped in and educate yourself and do what you are called to do, because then I won't be looking at what you got going, because I've been at fault for that. I've hated on somebody. I've been jealous of people because I haven't been focused on what God has called me to.
Yeah.
Then I start comparing myself to them, and then that's when you start, you're not operating in the will of God, because now I'm comparing myself to them. Why my car don't look like that? Why my family don't look like that? Why my house don't look like that? Or my place of living? Why it doesn't look like that? Why my finances don't look like that? And I just start doing things that God has not called me to do. But as I focus on what God has called me to, as I begin to again communicate with Holy Spirit, then I won't have to look at what you got going. I can actually salute my coworker that actually got the promotion, and not thinking to myself, how they gonna promote her? She don't even come to work.
Yeah. That's real.
She late every day.
Right.
How she gonna come? Nah, I could be able to salute my coworker and be like, you know, hey, congratulations, bro. You doing your thing. Not like, man, bro, I done missed like the past 3-4 days. He don't ever, you know what I'm saying? He done did a no call, no show.
Right. Like they say, preach.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, now I can congratulate you and be happy for you instead of basically what I'm getting from what you're saying, because I am partnering with Holy Spirit. I am communicating with God. I am becoming secure in who I am. Then I look at your opportunity that you are blessed with as motivation or inspiration instead of jealousy or hate, or looking at it as comparison. And at the end of the day, you need God to be able to do this. And that's what's going to keep you sane. That's what's going to keep you healthy spiritually, emotionally. And you may have some times, and if you do feel that spirit that's trying to come up against you, I just recommend you communicate with God about it. And so you rebuke that, because God is not the author of confusion, man. He's not going to give you that.
Right.
So, you know, what would be your last thing to tell the people about identity?
It's two different things
Yeah.
for me. The first thing is, I know a lot of times, you know how a person will create content and you say these things, oh, partner with the Holy Spirit, do this.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? So
Mhm.
partnering with the Holy Spirit looks like
That's good.
however you want it to look.
That's good.
And what
That's
that
real
means is, I don't know about you guys, but I say for me, as you kind of like matriculate in your walk with Christ,
good. Mm-hmm.
you look at how another person do things. Oh my God, she could pray really well.
Yeah.
She could beat the house down and she could prophesy.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do it like she does it. Just have a conversation with God.
Yeah. That's
It doesn't
good.
have to be, you don't have to speak in tongues of that, you know, for 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes it's just about, okay, God, I am here. I am frustrated. Just true
realness.
realness, like with God.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because I used to think, me personally, I can only speak on Morgan because I can account for myself.
Yeah.
I would think I needed to come to God with these elaborate words and just like the
That's
perfect
real, though.
prayer.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I was like, you know what? No, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
There was a woman, a guy who said that, and I went to like a conference, and she kind of broke that down. I was like, you know what? I did feel like I had to just have the right words.
Right.
But not really. Like, you could just come, like, I'm sitting here talking to Benil, I'm comfortable, you know, I'm having a conversation with my husband, we're, you know, shooting content in the comfort of our home. That's comfort. That's a level of comfort.
Yeah.
And as I partner with God, the more I come to Him, it becomes like that intimacy is like something that you yearn for. You're
Okay,
comfortable.
woman of God.
You're comfortably doing it. I'm on a roll.
At the end of the day, partnering with Holy Spirit, you cannot go wrong. And as you do that, as you communicate with God, wherever you are in your walk, God is going to answer that. God is going to reply back. All right. Hope that y'all are blessed. Hope that y'all are sound mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I'm praying God's blessings over you.